The story of Queen Esther, a heroine's journey. Once upon a time, in the grand and sprawling Persian Empire, there lived a young and beautiful Jewish woman named Esther. Esther was an orphan, raised by her cousin Mordecai, a wise and devout man who served in the king's court. Little did Esther know that her life was about to change in ways she could never imagine. The Persian Empire was ruled by King Ahasuerus, a powerful monarch with a vast kingdom stretching from India to Ethiopia. One day, the king held a grand banquet to showcase his wealth and power. During this lavish celebration, he called for his queen, Vashti, to appear before his guests. However, Vashti refused, and in his anger, the king decreed that she be removed from her position as queen. Ahasuerus then sought a new queen and ordered a search for the most beautiful maidens in the land. Esther, with her radiant beauty and grace, was brought to the palace along with many other young women. Despite her humble beginnings, Esther quickly won the favor of Haggai, the eunuch in charge of the harem, and she was given special beauty treatments and the best place in the harem. Months passed, and the day came for Esther to be presented to King Ahasuerus. When the king saw Esther, he was immediately captivated by her beauty and charm. He placed the royal crown on her head, making her the new Queen of Persia. However, Esther kept her Jewish heritage a secret, as Mordecai had advised her. Meanwhile, Mordecai discovered a plot by two of the king's officers to assassinate Ahasuerus. He informed Esther, who in turn told the king, giving credit to Mordecai. The plotters were hanged, and Mordecai's deed was recorded in the king's chronicles. As time went on, Haman, a high-ranking official in the king's court, rose to power. Haman was arrogant and demanded that everyone bow down to him. Mordecai, however, refused to bow, stating that he would bow only to his God. This infuriated Haman, and he sought revenge not only against Mordecai, but against all the Jews in the kingdom. Haman convinced King Ahasuerus to issue a decree ordering the destruction of all Jews in the empire. The decree was sent out, causing great sorrow and fear among the Jewish people. Mordecai tore his clothes, put on sackcloth and ashes, and went into the city, wailing loudly and bitterly. When Esther heard of Mordecai's distress, she sent a messenger to find out what was troubling him. Mordecai informed Esther of Haman's wicked plan and urged her to go to the king and plead for her people. Esther was initially hesitant, as approaching the king without being summoned could result in death. But Mordecai reminded her that she might have been placed in her royal position for such a time as this. With courage and determination, Esther resolved to risk her life for her people. She asked Mordecai and the Jews to fast and pray for 3 days. After this period, Esther dressed in her royal robes and approached the king. To her relief, Ahasuerus extended his golden scepter to her, allowing her to speak. Esther invited the king and Haman to a banquet she had prepared. At the banquet, the king, curious about Esther's request, asked her what she desired. Esther invited them to another banquet the following day, promising to reveal her petition then. That night, the king couldn't sleep. He ordered the chronicles of the kingdom to be read to him and was reminded of Mordecai's act of loyalty in uncovering the assassination plot. Ahasuerus asked Haman how to honor a man who had pleased the king. Haman, thinking the king meant to honor him, suggested a grand parade with royal robes and a noble steed. To his horror, the king commanded Haman to honor Mordecai in this manner. At the second banquet, Esther revealed her Jewish identity and exposed Haman's plot to annihilate her people. The king, enraged, stormed out into the garden. Haman, realizing his fate, begged Esther for his life. When the king returned and saw Haman falling on Esther's couch, he interpreted it as an attack on the queen and ordered Haman to be executed on the very gallows he had prepared for Mordecai. The decree to destroy the Jews could not be revoked, but King Ahasuerus issued a new decree allowing the Jews to defend themselves. On the appointed day, the Jews triumphed over their enemies, and the days of their victory were celebrated as the festival of Purim. Thus, through her bravery and faith, Queen Esther saved her people from destruction, and her story became a testament to the power of courage, faith, and destiny. Esther and Mordecai continued to serve in the king's court, ensuring peace and prosperity for their people in the land of Persia. And that is the story of Queen Esther, a tale of courage, wisdom, and divine providence that has been passed down through the ages.